We're playing Snake in RuneScape, moving around the map, one chunk at a time. We have an hour to complete as many challenges as we can, before the Snake is going to randomly move forward, left or right. If we complete all the challenges in a chunk before time is up, the Snake grows, giving us more area to play in. Join me as we work towards the first goal of the account, unlocking the Champions Guild. This is SnakeScape. Welcome back to the west side of the Isle of Souls, with the head of the snake here and the rest of the snake looping around the south of the island. Now, we are stuck on this island, and we're only stuck on the outside of the island as we can't get into the middle because of the Soul Wars minigame, which means the next 12 hours are guaranteed. Every hour the snake's going to move forwards and there's only going to be one place for it to go until we get all the way down to the Isle of Souls mine again. So what that means is we're going to work on the skill requirements that are around this island and try and get close to unlocking a few of the other chunks. Let's just do a quick reminder of what chunks we can unlock. So the closest chunk to being level complete, if that's the thing, is the northeast fishing chunk, as we need to be able to catch raw swordfish and then we can cook them. So we need 50 fishing and 45 cooking. But there is one catch to this, well there are two catches. One, there are pyre fiends in that chunk, which means I need to lamp up to 30 Slayer before I can kill them to get their drops. And there is also the big swordfish, the 1 in 5,000 drop you can get from the swordfish spots. So we won't be able to complete this chunk, but we'll be able to get the levels to allow us to complete it pretty soon. Probably the next chunk, which is closest to being completable, is the yew tree chunk, which has a requirement of 72 fletching to make a yew shield and 60 fire making to burn a yew log. Now, this will be best worked on in the maple tree chunk, so when we're around there we can probably try to do that. But yeah, those are the chunks we're working on, and these on screen are the skill requirements in order that I want to take them on. Let's jump in the game and get to 12 hours of some good old RuneScape grinding. So for the first little while, what I'm going to work on is actually fletching. And not because I want to work on fletching, but actually for forestry events. I really badly need a leprechaun event, and I can dump a bunch of this stuff into the bank, which will mean that going around the island will be able to be much more efficient with fishing and cooking. At the moment, I really would not want to do fishing. Whereas fletching, you only need a couple of slots. Fishing is much easier when you have a lot. So that's what I'm going to do first. Let's do a bit of wood cutting and a bit of fletching. Let's get to it. 3, 2, 1, go. Using maples for the very first time and getting to use my brand new mithril axe, which we got last episode and is such a big upgrade. Well, I'll see you whenever I get a level or a leprechaun event. And that's the end of the first hour without any leprechaun events. So we got 4 events during that hour, as shown by some pheasant tails, sadie beehives, meaning we're going to need to do 2 more hours of this-ish to get on rate to finding a leprechaun. And I do think it's worthwhile, especially as the head of the snake is going into chunks which are useless at the moment. I think it's a good use of my time to try and get my inventory empty, especially as we are working towards a goal while doing so. We're currently at 65 fletching, with about an hour away from 66. So let's move the chunk forward by 1 and get back to doing some maple trees. I'm going to keep going until we get a leprechaun event, or in 2 hours when we lose access to this chunk, because then there will be better things to do, and if that's the case then I will take the L and everything up here will be dropped. A bit of a shame, but oh well. Hey, there is 71 woodcutting. Milestone of no importance whatsoever. With all those events complete, we now have over 5,000 anima infused bark, which means with a couple more willow trees, we'll be able to buy the log basket, which will be incredible. It'll be so nice, especially in times like this, when I have a very full inventory. 1 more hour and no leprechaun yet. Man, I have 11 birds' nest I'd really like to hold on to for secondaries, but it's looking more dire. With the chunks moving, this is now the boundary, so we've only got 1 more hour of these maple trees. Then I think I'm going to have to take the L, dump all of this stuff, and move on to doing, well, you'll see in just a second what I'm going to do. Well, after 3 hours of trying, we have not had a leprechaun. which means all of this is going on the ground. I'm going to have a look inside of these. Yeah, that's not worthwhile. But I highly doubt there'll be anything useful. That's a damn shame, but you know what, that means that my next random event I'm getting is a Leo. Let's lock this chunk. And let's move on to another thing to work on, which I teased earlier, but we're about to commit a lot of murder. Well, I was going to run up there to start my timer, but I guess we're starting it here. I just got a Quizmaster. If this was a Leo, I was going to be so mad. But luckily the game hasn't screwed me over too much today. Will we get the stale we get? No, but we do get some natures, which I will hold on to. So let's actually get to killing some rabbits. Oh, this is where the site of my massacre is about to commence. Let's get to it. I need to kill about 1,000 rabbits. Oh, there's our first level, and there's 33. So we should be able to get this done within the hour. To get to 35, I don't think there's much point going past 35 because the burn rate is going to be pretty rubbish for tuna anyway. So we might as well just move on to yew trees or something. Or actually go do some mining. Do you find it really weird how burnt rabbit doesn't have a sprite, so it just becomes burnt meat? Feels like Jagex missed a trick there. And an unintended side effect of this grind, there's 56 strength. We're going to need about 10 more rabbits, so this should be done very, very soon. Then I'm just going to chop some yews for a little while. And here we have 35 cooking, which lets us cook tuna? Why didn't that come up? Oh, what? To anyone who's been screaming at their screen for the last, I don't know how many minutes, I already had the level for tuna. I misread the fishing level as the level for tuna. Well, well, that's good at least. We'll be able to go back to cooking when we get the tuna chunk in 2 hours' time. I'm gonna go chop some yews and think about what I've done. That is very annoying. I was just reading the wiki and I read that they're above each other and okay. Well, we got some cooking levels nonetheless. It means that our burn rate for tuna will be much lower. We get a whole 5% more chance to cook them correctly. Okay, well, that was pretty pointless. Well, that is that. And we've done 45 minutes of useless rabbit killing, but let's move on. The next chunk up is the one with teaks in it, which I am going to utilise for their really fast fire making experience. So let's get to it. Right, let's get an hour of this done. I'm looking to try and get maybe 51, 52 fire making before we have to move on to some fishing. So let's give it a shot. 3, 2, 1, go. There is 72 wood cutting. We are almost at 53 fire making as well. It's been a really good hour. I mean, teaks are just so good for wood cutting and fire making XP. Let's just keep it going. 60 is the final goal, but I doubt we're going to get there anytime soon. Maybe on the next loop if we do another loop of the island. Cool, let's get to doing some fishing in this next hour. And I don't know how long it's going to take to get to 45, but we will be cooking our way up there. Let's get to it. Let's do some harpooning. I'm going to burn these and try and get as many tuna as I can. Let's start the timer. Let's go for it. Okay, thinking about it a little bit more, it's going to be just more efficient if I use my lobster pot to get my fishing up and I do cooking using the rabbits. Even though it was kind of a pain in the arse of a method, it was faster, to be honest, especially because we're going to burn a bunch of our tuna just like that. So let me just quickly get to 50 fishing. It should take me maybe an hour or two. And then I think I'm going to go back to doing some wood cutting and some fire making. There's 48 fishing. Getting currently about 13, 14k an hour doing this, which is quite slow. It's a lot slower than I expected it to be. But we should be done in just over an hour. And one more level to go. We definitely won't be able to get it in this hour, but in the next we should be able to. And then fishing will kind of be done for as much as I can be bothered to do it. because the next level for fishing is going to be the 76, if I remember correctly, for sharks, and that is way too big of a jump from 50. So I'm going to put that on the back burner and we'll come back to sharks at a later date. So we are currently at 6,300 XP away from level 50 and getting the fishing requirement that we need, which means that we only need about half an hour more of cage fishing. Once we finish that, then harpoon fishing is going to become much better, so we might swap back to that if we want to do any more fishing. But I still think that getting the 60 fire making when we have a really good wood cutting spot is going to be better for us. So I think we'll move on to that. Anyway, let's get to another half hour of fishing. Okay, well there's 2 inventory slots gone until we get our next event. We need to hold on to these because now we can start getting some lamps, I believe. It's 50 fishing! We can now harpoon swordfish, which makes harpooning so much better. So let's really run back, and we're going back on some wood cutting and fire making. Let's get back to it. I'm going to be aiming for maybe 55, 60 in the next few hours. Let's just get as much done as we can. Oh, you're kidding me. Okay, now I can get rid of a bunch of stuff. Okay, I'm going to be getting rid of both my mime tops, the ranged gear, the key, the myth sim, and I'm also going to get rid of the cloak because I don't need it. Everything else is good. So, now we have so much more space for everything else. Cool, let's get back to do some fire making. With so much more inventory space now, this is incredible. 54 fire making. Probably the only fire making level of the hour. Got about 3 more hours of this. So basically until the snake loses access to this chunk. Then we should be at 60 before then. And the game is screwing with me. You'll have to see it. Another leprechaun. I'm going to need teak logs anyway for the forestry unlockables, so I might as well lob a couple of them in the bank while I have some inventory. And there is 56 fire making. 2 more levels to go, and we should be able to do it in about 2 hours, hopefully. Oh, we have an elite clue. Let's have a look. Maybe I should hold on to this. That's quite funny. I don't know what the rate is, but I know that's very rare. That's we are not going to be able to complete an elite clue for a very long time. And there is 73 woodcutting, as we just come up on crossing 1 million woodcutting experience, which is kind of nuts that woodcutting makes up, you know, about over 20% of all the XP I have. I guess it just tells you about the types of challenges we put up with so far. 59 fire making, we only have 1 more level to go. Should take me just under an hour, I think, maybe 40 minutes. So we have 1 last hour with these trees here. We have got a total of 22,000 fire making experience left to go. It should take me about 40 minutes. And then I'm going to run down and I'm going to do some fletching with the maples down the bottom right. So let's get to it. 3, 2, 1, go. Because with this last log, that is 60 fire making, which means we can now burn yew logs and tick off quite a big task in this area. There are no yew logs in my chunks anymore, I don't think. So I'm gonna have to do it next time we're in a yew log chunk, but that's a really big milestone. The only thing that's left for yew trees is now just the 72 fletching, which is a long way away, but with the amount of GP we get from Soul Wars, it's going to be a lot easier the next time we buy some feathers. So let's move on to just doing a little tad of fletching. So I'm going to change the plan slightly, because I've done so much woodcutting in the last like 10 hours. You know, I feel like doing a little bit of harpoon fishing. I know it's not the most efficient thing to do, but we could get spooned on the big swordfish, so it's worth having a look at. And I can cook the tunas. And again, while I remember, just going to grab 1 log, because this time I will actually try some tick manipulation. I don't know if it will make it into the edit, but the last time I had a teak log, I was doing fletching earlier in the episode, and I accidentally put it inside one of the beehive randoms, so I couldn't use it even if I wanted to. But this time I think I'm going to skip on some fletching for a bit and just focus on some mining next. I thought about doing some fletching and then I realized, you know what, I've done like 7 hours of woodcutting today. I think I deserve to just do something other than woodcutting. Oh, that's right, I've run out of time. Okay, that's the end of doing the massive fire making grind. So we now have got 1 more hour before then we have a 50-50 roll on whether we're going into the Isle of Souls lobby or we're going left, and then there's another decision point 2 hours after that. So let's do a quick hour of mining, I think. And I'm going to try out some tick manipulation. Hopefully it will go well. Right, we have got 1 more hour before the first roll of this episode. Now, there are 2 places we can go from here, either going north into the Soul Wars lobby or going west into the pottery chunk. If we go west, we've got 2 more hours before we get a chance at Soul Wars again. If we go north, we are almost certainly playing some Soul Wars. But before then, we've got an hour of mining. Currently 53 mining, I'd like to get to 55 by the end of this hour. I'm going to try my hand at some tick manipulation, as it should increase my mining rate by quite a bit. But I might almost certainly just give up at some point if it's too intensive, or if I just can't get the hang of it. Anyway, let's start the timer and cook some fish first. Let's chop down a tree. If we do another loop of the island, cooking is going to be a high priority task. I can feel it being a little bit quicker, but to be honest, like, it's just not worth the effort. You know what? I'm going back to normal mining. I can't be bothered. Now, the XP rate was quite a bit higher, but every time I misclicked, and my mouse is not very good. I mean, I'm also not very good. It meant I had to reset back into it. But let's just chill out and do an hour of mining from here on out. Tick manipulation is something I really do want to get better at, so when I have more patience, I will definitely do it again. There's 54 mining. You know what, if we go west once more, we should be able to get to 60 mining, which will mean we'll get 2 60s in an episode, which will be very nice. There's 55 mining. Man, I'm really excited to maybe do some more Soul Wars. Today is a day they've just announced that it's going to be nerfed massively. So I'm hoping that we can go back through it a few more times before that happens. It should be a few more weeks before it's completely nerfed. And with that, that's been a nice quick hour of mining. Gave up on tick manipulation quite quickly. It was getting me some quite good experience, but just lag kept taking me out of it, and just my bad clicking. So let's jump in the champ picker for the first time in this episode, because we actually have a choice of where the snake can go. Let's have a look at it. Here we are. So that's been a very productive last 12-ish hours. I can't remember how many I've actually played for now. We spent the first few hours doing some fletching, then killing rabbits to do some cooking, which ended up being a little bit useless, but we'll likely come back to that if we go around again. Then we spent a long time doing fire making, completing 60, which is really big. So now the yew trees down here, we can actually burn. Then we spent a little bit of time fishing as well, getting that up to 50. So we can do a bit more of that, especially if we go left here, we'll be able to use the big net here, which will be a good cooking experience. But there are 2 places we can go with the snake facing west, either into the pottery chunk or into the Soul Wars lobby. Let's see where we're going. And it's west into the pottery chunk again. Okay, so that means that the next roll is guaranteed, so we have 2 more hours to kind of do what we want with. I still think that cooking to complete this chunk would be a big one, and doing more mining to get to 60, but this is quite low priority, to be honest, as we can do mining in lots of places. So what I think I'm going to do is grab the big net and get to some fishing and cooking. Let's get to it. So just in case you wanted a quick reminder of what the snake looks like at the moment, I had forgotten to take away the last 2 on the chunk picker. So currently the snake is 7 chunks long and looks a bit like this. So let's pick up the big net and do a bit of fishing. I think it pains me so, but we will be dropping all of these again. I don't think we're going to be getting any random events. and I can't be asked to hold on to them for 2 hours. So yeah, this is all going, apart from the knife and the teak. But we can grab the big fishing net and run back over to the spot in the east. This should be some quite decent fishing experience, because we should be able to cook almost anything that comes out. I haven't looked it up, but I know that big net fishing is a much lower requirement than harpooning and the lobster pot, so we should be okay for it. I'm about to prove myself very wrong, I imagine. I think I'm going to try this for half an hour, maybe, see what the rates are like. If the cooking rates are below, I don't know, 15,000, then I will give up. But and then we'll go back to mining. But it's just to test this out for a little bit, because I wasn't able to do this last time with a big net because we were focused on putting stuff in the bank. This time we can actually give it a shot. And as well, at some point we do need to catch the big bass. At some point we do need to catch the big bass, so we may as well get a few RNG rolls on it. Definitely is not fast with the amount of burning stuff, but it's very relaxing. So I think I'm just going to stick it here just for the next hour and a half, and then we'll see whether we're going to another loop or not. And we got a genie, so that's going to Slayer to work towards getting Pyrofiends unlocked. And another fishing level to go towards the 76 that we need. More cooking. So with 40 being the next one, that's where we get to do lobsters, which will increase our cooking XP per hour, or should increase our cooking XP per hour quite substantially. And there is 40 cooking, which means we can now cook lobsters, which will be a big XP increase when we get back to the north of the island. If we go west, still working on 43 so that we can cook bass as well, but yeah, no, that's a good milestone. We've still got 34 minutes to go. We'll try and get as much cooking done as possible. Woo, more cooking! So just before I end this hour, of course we have to cut a U-log and burn it, as that's what we were working for many hours earlier. So we might as well tick that task off while we can. There we go. And if we use a tinderbox on there, that is a chunk task complete. I will sit and just chop some of these for the rest of the 1 minute 30 we have left. Right, let's jump in the champ picker and see whether we're going to be doing another lap of the island or we're going into Soul Wars. Finally, after 14 hours. So we are in exactly the same location we were 14 hours ago, and we can tick off one big skill task, which is the 60 fire making. Now, we can't tick anything else off, I believe. We're going to need to work on quite a few other things if we stay on this island. But from here, with the snake facing north, we can either go into the lobby and be guaranteed to escape, or we can go left and do another lap. Shall we see where we're going then? And it is left. We're doing another lap of the island. Oh, I wonder how many times we're going to be doing that. Okay, let's jump back into the game. Well, it looks like we're going to be spending at least another 12 hours here, so we're going to be able to work on that task list from the beginning of the episode. But that's going to have to wait till the next one, where now that we've ticked off a couple of the big grinds, we can work on a few other things, and maybe hopefully get to 30 Slayer to complete another chunk. If you have enjoyed this episode, a like would be greatly appreciated, and a subscription would be absolutely amazing. I hope you've enjoyed it. But until next time, I'll see you around. Goodbye!